Thank you very much. Thank you. And if I could, at this stage, please call on Philip Rossler. He's the Managing Director of the World Economic Forum to formally start closing our proceedings.
Mrs. Nielsen, but first and foremost, I will say thank you to our great panel, distinguished panelists. Thank you very much for this fruitful discussion. And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm convinced that this World Economic Forum on Africa was one of our best regional World Economic Forum. And I'm convinced, not because of being only kind to you and to our panelists and to our participants. They are hard facts. And maybe you know the way how we try to improve the state of the world. You know our mission, committed to improving the state of the world. So we have 3 steps. The first step is we want to create a community of interest. The second step is to create a community of purpose. And the third step is to have a community of action. Let us have a look. We have a community of interest. We created a great community of interest. See only the articles about the last 3 days. More than 48,000 articles only about the World Economic Forum on Africa here in Abuja. That's 3 times more than the last year. So that shows millions of people, maybe billions, have now realized that Africa is important on a global economic world map, and they are doing right. And the second is, we created a community of purpose. So look, we have had more than 1,000 participants here in the last 3 days. And they were here not despite all the discussions about security and so on. They were here because of all these discussions. There were 1,000 voices of solidarity with the people here in Nigeria. We will never allow that terrorism and violence dictate our agenda, the African people's agenda here for the continent. And the third is, we created a community of action. See the numbers and figures. To put all the promises, agreements, and commitments together. We have, and we will objectives is 68 billion US dollars investments for the African continent in the next years by foreign direct investment, private investment, and public investment as well. And not only money, but investment in beautiful projects. You mentioned Grow Africa, to foster the agricultural sector, to improve infrastructure, streets, railways, hospitals, but ICT sector as well. To have beautiful projects for education, for skills. So that means it's not only money, that is opportunity for all the people in Africa, because our main purpose is committed to improving the state of Africa. That's the reason why we're here. And I'm convinced that all the actions, the projects will be very successful because we have one role model, starting this World Economic Forum. It's a project to help to bring back the girls. And it's an initiative starting by the private sector, by the Nigerian business community. It's a project, Safe Schools, in Nigeria and in Africa. And the business community put $10 million on the table yesterday. Mr. Nduka, the chairman of the Nigerian Newspaper Association. And what should I say? Our projects are very successful because they are a strong collaboration between the public sector on the one hand and the private sector on the other hand. And yes, the private sector start with $10 million, and thanks to the Nigerian government, Mr. Ngozi announced it 1 hour before, the Nigerian government will match these $10 million US dollar with another $10 million by the Nigerian government. So ladies and gentlemen, feel free to join this initiative as well. And so that shows we've reached all our objectives. We have these 3 communities, and we will promise to the people in Africa we will never forget that all these projects will be put forward in the next 12 months. And that is the reason that this is not the ending of a beautiful World Economic Forum on Africa 2014. This is the starting point for the next 12 months. Hard working on all our projects. We are here committed to improving the state of Africa in order that all the particular younger generation will have the opportunity to put their dreams into reality. So thank you very much again. And now I can hand over to Minister Gortan, because we want to know where will be our next World Economic Forum on Africa 2015, because we have now to work 12 months, but we need some goals. Thank you very much.
Minister, could you...
Alors, le micro du ministre n'est pas allumé. Est-ce que vous pouvez aller au podium, s'il vous plaît? Bonsoir à vous tous. D'abord, je voudrais féliciter mes collègues du gouvernement et la population du Nigeria pour un bon forum économique mondial plein de succès. Alors, nous avons eu une très bonne collaboration et chaque année, de nouvelles normes sont définies. Alors, elle a défini une nouvelle norme que nous devons essayer de satisfaire quand on va se rencontrer l'année prochaine.
Secondly, let me also, on behalf of our government, President Zuma, and the people of South Africa, express our solidarity with the people of Nigeria and the government, and we certainly hope we can also contribute to the girls returning home. Next year, I believe the World Economic Forum will be in South Africa. The ANC will still in government. It's just won its elections in South Africa. So you have absolute certainty about the political scene in South Africa. And it will be in early June in Cape Town. Professor Schwab says he can't negotiate any other city in South Africa, so we bow down to his wishes. And we look forward to welcoming you to Cape Town next year and hope that Africa would have some of the quick wins that Bronwyn was talking about, and the fact that we are indeed making progress, that we've gone beyond the stage of just talking about things, but also beginning to do things. But more importantly, hopefully we can also demonstrate that on the one hand we are developing more cohesiveness on the African continent amongst ourselves, but importantly also cooperation and cohesion at a new level amongst our global partners as well. And certainly, as I've said on many occasions, this is a long-term partnership that our visitors from elsewhere in the world are developing.
Partenariat à long terme sera développé sur le continent africain et ce qui va trouver des milliards de personnes aussi à un niveau différent pour améliorer
and a growing economy, but certainly an inclusive economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Gordon. Whew. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I commend you for lasting this long. Well done. I beg your indulgence as I address the elephant in the room. At the outset, we said that WEF Africa is a conversation for the whole of Africa. We said that WEF Africa is concerned about the missing girls. We said that WEF Africa is committed to forging inclusive growth, creating jobs. Did we deliver results? As a finance specialist and development economist, I like facts and figures. Since 2nd May, there were nearly 50,000 social media items mentioning the World Economic Forum on Africa. The coverage had a total reach of over 2.1 billion. That's about 30% of the world population. On Twitter, the number of followers increased by over 1,200 people per day. The digital reach increased to over 4.1 million people, with content receiving over 1,500 retweets. On Facebook, the forum's Facebook page generated nearly 500,000 hits, with 1,000 people liking forum's posts. And on live stream, the launch of the Safe Schools Initiative press conference was watched over 1,200 times. In terms of practical results, my boss has mentioned the Safe Schools Initiative. He's also made reference to agriculture. But it's not just that. I'll mention a few highlights, and many more will be shared with you in the weeks ahead. The Chinese government unveiled a plan to invest $42 billion in Africa, $10 billion investment financing, $30 billion extending credit lines, $2 billion into the China-Africa Development Fund. Business, the Dangote Group is investing $16 billion in Nigeria over the next 4 years and is expected to create 180,000 jobs. Bharti Airtel is investing $1 billion across Africa in the next 10 years, and 20,000 jobs will be generated as part of the Digital Jobs Africa initiative. I'm not isolating, which is why I say we will share more in the weeks to come, so don't feel that I've left anyone out. We will make sure we get your stories across as well. In power, $2 billion from development agencies have been committed to improve electricity supply across Nigeria. In health, an immunization drive got $700 million as an MOU was signed. We also have other forum initiatives that made strides. We took forward and are launching and will announce a press release regarding an Africa Skills Initiative, which is a regional initiative to promote skills development and the delivery of education in Africa and linking that to employment. With respect to clean business practice, a commitment was made to practice clean business and uphold good governance. In terms of travel and trade facilitation, a common visa scheme was signed by the the President of Kenya, President of Rwanda, and Prime Minister of Mali. And there was an overall commitment, very strong commitment, for the private sector to collaborate with the public sector, regional and global partners in the fight against terrorism, both in Nigeria and the rest of Africa. Wow. As an honorary citizen of Abuja, I received the Golden Key last April. I want to sincerely thank the community for their patience and generosity. I want to thank our co-chairs that have played a truly commendable role and have worked really hard and taken time from extremely busy schedules. I'd like to thank the hotel staff. We've filled many hotels directly and indirectly, so I don't want to isolate it just to our official hotels. We've put real burden on them. They've had to live up to Swiss standards, you know. It wasn't easy. I would like to thank the government in its entirety once again, and particularly the President's local steering committee, which was made up of officials from government as well as representatives of the business community, as well as our youth community and academia, so it was truly multi-stakeholder, which was chaired by Minister Ngozi and Dr. Nwanze, who was a special economic advisor to the President, and the awesome, awesome secretariat led by Frank Nweke. We could never have made it without you. I would like to thank my colleagues, especially my immediate team of 4 that supports you throughout the year. Huguette from Rwanda, Vanessa from Chad and France, Patrick from Zimbabwe and Ireland, Ruben from Ireland. Heartfelt thanks. This was a tough mission that began in 2007. I took over the baton in 2011. Asanteni sana. Last but not least, Nabonu, Sayanjimanku, Odabo, Odigba, Kwaherini, Ila Alilika, Adush, au revoir, goodbye, safe travels, God bless you all.
And please, a great thank you to Elsie Kenza, our African ambassador. Elsie, great. Please stay a minute, please.